partner, you are onto the Power Circuit. This program is specially packaged by the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) to bring you updates on the Nigerian electricity supply industry. I'm your anchor, Amara Agugesi. In today's episode, we are bringing to you a special report on the encroachment of power transmission right-of-way with a focus on the Lagos region of the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN). There is also a mention of actions of TCN to address the violation of power transmission lines right-of-way in Edo State. We implore you to stick around as you enjoy this power sector enlightenment campaign of TCN. The Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) has been tackling the menace of the encroachment of power transmission lines routes. While these issues are nationwide, the special report on the encroachment of power transmission right-of-way with a focus on the Lagos region of TCN. You will see and hear from TCN officials about the encroachment of these lines and the dangers these actions pose to people around them.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) is a critical actor in the electricity supply value chain, responsible for transmitting electricity from power generation plants to distribution load centers nationwide. The large pylons are mounted on certain routes with express right-of-way granted to them by the government. These pylons carry conductors or cables that are capable of transmitting generated electricity at a high tension of 330 kV and 132 kV capacity. Due to the high electricity voltage these lines carry, people are often warned not to live or conduct businesses near or under them. Officials of TCN Lagos region conducted an assessment of some power transmission line routes in some areas of Lagos and found that these line routes have been heavily encroached. A senior manager lines at the Akomba sub-region of TCN, Engineer Doye Apa, conducted the power circuit team around some sections of encroached power transmission line route in Ejigbo town of Lagos.
Behind me here is another of our transmission lines. This is the Ikeja West Akomba 330 kV transmission line. As you can see, we are under what they call the power line. However, the local government, this is Ejigbo. This is the power line Ejigbo. The local government of this area is turned this whole place into a market. So as you can see, behind me is one of our towers, and you can see the market people going about their duties. This place it has become an attraction for people to come and buy things. So what that means is, at every point of the day, from probably 8 o'clock to 7 o'clock, which is the market hours, this area is going to be densely populated. A lot of people are coming here, and it's directly under the power line.
This densely populated area is a cause of concern for TCN as it directly encroaches on the 330 kV Ikeja West power transmission line.
A failure to any of the power line accessories, like the insulator that is being used to string it, or a failure in the power line itself, can lead to this 330 kV transmission line coming down. And with this place being densely populated, it serves as a very, very big risk of huge losses to not just in terms of transmission losses, in terms of lives and properties.
While TCN has sustained its sensitization campaign, ensuring it enlightens people on the dangers of staying under power transmission lines, most people seem to not worry about this concern.
So again, it's not healthy, it's not good. We come here, we talk to them, we talk to the people, but this is the situation we found ourselves with, and that's what it is.
Another key concern about the encroachment of these power transmission lines is that people have directly turned the right-of-way area to refuse dumps. These have inherent implications for the durability of power transmission lines, as fire from the heaps of refuse could weaken the conductor and insulators, causing the tower members to buckle, eventually leading to tower collapse and ultimately a line swap. This could lead to electrocution of whoever is found under the line, aside from the economic and power outage implications that could have.
This is our 330 kV lines, the Ikeja West Akongba 330 kV transmission line 1 and line 2. This is the span we are under is between tower 536 to tower 537 of the transmission line 1. So as you can see behind me, there is a refuse dump site. Previously, the community used to let people come here to dump their refuse, and they used to take a token from them. Dumping the refuse directly under the power line, as you can see, is very, very high. And at times they carry out refuse burning here. When you carry out refuse burning, there is sort of like an oxidation of the air, basically releasing pollutants into the air, which can in turn make the transmission line short circuit and trip. You know, this tripping of such a crucial transmission line can also lead to system disturbances that we have. At times when they carry out the burning of refuse, you know, the heat also increases the heat of the conductors. It heats up the conductors. The conductors have their nominal working temperature and everything. That can also lead to the conductors snapping.
Again, the TCN management escalated the issue of turning the right-of-way of power transmission lines to refuse dump site to the Lagos State government. So far, refuse trucks have been barred from dumping new ones, but the old ones remain amidst threats of refuse boys who still dump refuse there in trickles. And then, scavengers explore this site and even set fire to the site occasionally while searching for metals and other items.
These potential dangers that we faced here led us to also escalate it to our TCN higher-ups, our management, and also they also escalated it to the Lagos State management. Thankfully, as you can see, this place, there are no trucks coming in and out. From sometime around the middle of last year, they've actually stopped depositing refuse here. So we want to thank the government, the Lagos State government, for intervening, and also appeal to them to also help us further reduce the height of this of the refuse. As you can see, it's still very close to our transmission line, and it's not very good. It's not very healthy. If we want to carry out any maintenance job here, it's still going to pose a hindrance to us. So I would like to appreciate them, but also appeal to them to still help us reduce the refuse behind.
The special report on the encroachment of power transmission lines in the Lagos region of TCN continues after this break. Please stay put.
Towards ensuring the safety of lives and property along power lines right-of-way, the federal government stipulates the length of land you should leave before you can build or conduct any business around those lines. This is a guide to observing the transmission lines right-of-way to avoid violation, while you should not build or trade under and close to transmission lines. Here is the number of meters of land to leave around power lines right of way. You should leave 25 meters each on both sides of a 330 kV power transmission line right of way. For a 132 kV transmission line right of way, you are required to leave 15 meters each on the both sides. You must set aside 7.5 meters each on both sides of where a 33 kV distribution line passes through. And for the 11 kV distribution line, you must leave 5.5 meters space on both sides of the line. Let's keep obeying these stipulations as you join to contribute to safety around power lines. The TCN Lines Assessment Team were also at the Surulere area of Lagos, where similar infractions were observed along the 330 kV Ikeja West to Akomba transmission line route, with a lot of residential and commercial buildings along the line route. Engineer Appa of the System Lines Department of TCN, Akomba region, noted the infractions along the line route at the Agoda area.
Okay, we are currently at under one of our transmission lines. This is the Ikeja West Akomba 330 kV transmission line 1. We are at Agoda, close to our tower. You can see our tower behind. This is tower 556A. As you can see, they've built around the transmission tower line, making it very difficult at times to access the tower line. There is a Cherubim and Seraphim Church there. Directly under the power line, you can also see buildings, a lot of buildings to the left, to the right, and this carries on for several other spans.
These infractions of building right under the transmission lines right of way has made it difficult for TCN staff to maintain the lines, while it increases the health and safety risks of people in that area.
It's a big issue for us because, firstly, with respect to our job, if we have any job that requires us to lower the transmission line to work, you can see that these buildings are going to be in the way of it, of us carrying out our job smoothly. But even much more than that, there is a very serious health challenge in this area for the people living here. Not just health, you understand, risk to life and property. We know that this transmission line is a 330 kV transmission line. What that means is the voltage level is 330 kV. What goes in our house, we have to remember, is 220 volts. This is kilovolts. So if by peradventure any of the accessory we have, the insulator that we have suspending the conductor, if by peradventure that fails, or the conductor itself fails, it can lead to this conductor dropping directly down to the ground. And we know how electricity, you understand.
When the transmission line route was constructed over 40 years ago, those buildings were not there. More so, the line route spanning 50 meters in width was exclusively allocated for the passage of the transmission line, with no structure or activity allowed there, in line with the Land Use Act.
If this conductor comes down to the ground, virtually anything it touches, because of the way electricity moves and the way it behaves, virtually anything it touches is likely going to catch fire. If it touches anybody, the person is likely going to lose the person's life. This in itself will present a lot of challenges to TCN in terms of repair, replacement, and everything, and to the government. So it's actually not ideal. When this line was constructed in 1968, a lot of all these houses, you can see one of them here, were built there. And at that point in time, the government itself had acquired the right of way to build this transmission line. We have our right of way for 330 kV line, which is basically 25 meters each side, to the left and 25 meters to the right. As you can see from the center point of the tower, I am barely standing at, let me say, give or take, close to like say 15 meters roughly, or 10 meters from the center point of the tower. So that basically means that everything from even here moving towards this side and towards that side are all illegal structures that shouldn't be here, that are at risk if by peradventure this transmission line fails.
And as always, TCN management has also held sensitization campaigns in this area to enlighten them about the illegality of their actions, as well as the health and safety implications.
Almost every time we patrol the transmission line, we warn the people living there, you are not meant to be here. This is the risk involved. Your life is at stake if you do well to get to move to another place. So virtually every time we patrol these lines, we always carry out sensitization programs, or not a program, but sensitization for the people that live there. So it's something we do virtually every time we patrol the line. We inform people of the risks and dangers involved with residing close to this place. As you can see, even in that place, some people have turned it to like more or less like a residential building where they sleep and eat, sleep, wake up, everything. That's where they live. You know, so it's less than ideal. We warn them. We keep on trying to warn them, and in our own capacity also, we also try to escalate the issues to let our higher management know that okay, these things are also happening under the transmission line.
Shanties and wood-built houses dot the area under the transmission line, with some trespassers using the tower members of the 330 kV of Ikeja West transmission lines as hangars. This is quite a dangerous trend, as the management of TCN appeals to the Lagos state government to still intervene. Right by tower number 5 of the 330 kV Ikeja West transmission line 2 is a full residential building, an action that is strictly prohibited and highly dangerous to the occupants of the building.
This is the Ikeja West Akongba 330 kV transmission line 2 by nomenclature W4L. We are currently standing under tower 591 of the line. As you can see behind us here is actually a building built for residential purposes. This lodge is being given out to tenants coming in here. They've actually barricaded our tower in. To the front, there's another lodge there, and beyond, that's how it is. This is directly under the transmission line. On this side here, this particular transmission line is a suspension tower. So if anything happens to the insulator, the line comes directly down, and anything within this area under the right of way, it's going to be the first point of contact before that transmission line hits the ground. Whatever it touches is going to ground it, and it's going to lead to serious fire and loss of lives.
But then, what has TCN done about it? Engineer Appa speaks more about the preliminary actions.
We've come here numerous times. We've educated the owner of this place. We've told the tenants here also that living here is not safe for them, but nobody listens. We keep on trying our best to always re-educate and everything. That's the best we can do. Whenever we come here, anybody we see, we tell them. We try to let them know the dangers of living under the transmission line, but they've kept on staying here. So this is just another of our locations. This kind of situation is rife within these our transmission lines. If you go to the front, to the back, it's still the same thing.
In Edo State, the management of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is collaborating with the Edo State government to address the issue related to violation of transmission lines right of way. TCN has partnered with the Edo State Task Force on protecting government infrastructure to tackle encroachment on transmission lines. Cases of encroachment of power transmission lines pose risk of electrocution, accident, and infrastructure damage. Despite TCN's sensitization efforts, the problem has persisted, underscoring the need for stricter enforcement of regulations. Further committing to the campaign to curb these encroachments, TCN hosted a meeting of the Edo State Task Force team at the Benin Region headquarters. The officials discussed ways to safeguard all power transmission lines right-of-way, just as the Edo State Task Force pledged to collaborate on tackling violations across the state.
Follow TCN Nigeria on all its social media platforms to know the ongoing or completed projects in your locality. They are aimed at improving bulk electricity supply to your distribution company DISCO for onward delivery to your homes and businesses. Living or conducting business under the right-of-way of power transmission line is not safe for you. Let us work together to stamp out whatever form of practice that encroaches on the right-of-way of power transmission lines nationwide. In today's episode, we brought your way a special report on the encroachment of power transmission line right-of-way with a focus on the Lagos region of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We also told you about the actions of the TCN management to address the violation of power transmission lines right-of-way in Edo State. The Transmission Company of Nigeria TCN has made editions of the power circuit available on its YouTube channel for enhanced access and knowledge enhancement. We encourage you to support TCN by connecting with all its social media platforms. For Facebook, like TCN via Transmission Company of Nigeria. For X, formerly Twitter, follow TCN at TCN_Nigeria. And on Instagram, get updates by following TCN_Nigeria. TCN officials welcome your observations and comments. Please send them via email to affairs.public@tcn.org.ng. For more information about TCN's activities, visit the interactive website at www.tcn.org.ng. Additionally, check out www.tcnnews.ng for updates on power sector activities. Let's continue supporting TCN by guarding against vandalism of power transmission lines, towers, and substations in your area. Report any suspicious activities aimed at vandalizing or sabotaging power transmission assets to TCN officials or nearby security operatives. I am Amara Agugesi. Let's support one another always. Bye.